YouTube, I am back. It is your boy APFC. I've just dropped a video basically discussing what Arteta has said in the pre-match press conference against Olympiakos, highlighting that he is looking to play quite a strong side against Olympiakos, not planning to rest any players, and also talking about whether Arsenal can win the Europa League based on the competition that is in the Europa League, like some of the teams such as United, Ajax, and whatnot. Roma being one as well. And who was the other one? Inter. Can't believe I forgot that one. But please do go check that out. Anyway, guys, I just did a video on that, just dropped it. But today I am going to be discussing the probable lineup that Arteta is going to go with, and I will explain my reasons why as I continue in this video. Without further ado, let's get this started. So, first player today I'm going to go is the goalkeeper, and Emiliano Martinez is going to start this game. Why I say that is nothing against Leno, simply because Arteta, well, we haven't really actually seen this as much, but it looks like he's going to play a cup goalkeeper because I know Emery was looking to doing that as well. So I think Martinez will play, and there's no reason why you wouldn't play him because I think for a second string goalkeeper, Emiliano Martinez is quite a decent goalkeeper. What I like about him, he's got quite a good frame. His passing from the back is relatively decent for a second goalkeeper. You often find with goalkeepers that are sitting on the bench, their distribution is not always fantastic. I think his is above average in my opinion. And his shot stopping is relatively good as well. I think what sort of lets him down sometimes, and you probably would have seen this in some games in the Europa League, is he has lapses of concentration where there's shots that he maybe should save, and simply just looks like he's switched off and he doesn't react quick enough. But there's also been some performances he's been really good this year, particularly early on in the Europa League. He was putting in some dynamite performances, and there was a couple where he pretty much kept us in the game. So I've got no problem with playing a cup goalkeeper. It's always good to give the second keeper minutes in case something happens to the first keeper, so he at least is match ready. Martinez hasn't played in a while, so throw him in. Why not? I've got no problem with that whatsoever. Left back, I am going to go with Sead Kolasinac. Now, this is not who I think should start. This is what I think Arteta is doing. I would have gone with Saka based on the form that he's in, but I think that Arteta is looking to utilise Saka in the Premier League against Everton this weekend. He has been our most informed player currently at the moment for us. Kolasinac is just coming back from an injury, and I think, relatively speaking, he's performed quite well under Arteta. What I've liked about Kolasinac since Arteta has come in is that he's more willing to put in a defensive shift. If you would remember at times under Emery, he just at times, didn't look like he was bothered to put in a shift defensively, and he just was always caught out of position. What you would notice with Kolasinac, particularly from what I remember against the Chelsea game and the United game, I think it was just the Chelsea game actually, is that after 50, 60 minutes, he looked gassed, but that's because Kolasinac at that time was doing his job correctly in knowing when to go forward and when to hold back. I like that he's trying to establish that awareness in his game again, to get him into that form that ultimately he was the best left back in Germany at one point, based on that award he got of left back of the season. But I don't think he should be starting ahead of Saka, really, but I think this is a good game to put Kolasinac in, and he does offer that valuable experience in these sort of games. As I mentioned in my other video, there's no hiding place for these players, as Arteta said, and playing at Olympiakos away is going to be very tricky. Hector Bellerin is going to be my right back. I thought Hector Bellerin had a relatively quiet game against Newcastle on the weekend, probably one of his most quiet ones since Arteta has come in. Obviously, Bellerin at the moment, I know he's been back from injury for a while, but I think for those sort of injuries, it's still going to be a little bit hit and miss in respects to how well he performs consistently week in, week out. Criticism that I had, actually, I'll go with the positives. Positives that I've had of Bellerin first is that I think defensively he's been quite solid. I think having that experience centre back wise of David Luiz and I can't believe I'm saying Mustafi, but Mustafi as such. I think it's helped him. I think Luiz has calmed the whole defense down and they look a lot more of a unit. And I think it's really helped Bellerin because he doesn't seem to be making as many rash runs forward. He's holding his position a little bit more and he is putting in quite a solid defensive shift. And I don't think Bellerin's as quick as he was, but he still has quite a lot of pace for a right back, and generally speaking, a lot of players will struggle to get past him, although St. Maximin was toying with him at times, let's be real, on the weekend. But I think Bellerin has been probably a 6 to 7 out of 10 since he's come back. Um, but something a criticism of his game is that I don't think he's getting forward enough. Now, I don't think that's entirely his fault. I think the structure that we play is more dominant going down the left-hand side. I've mentioned this in many other videos. Xhaka will go back to holding that left back position while Saka pushes forward and Aubameyang goes to the middle. Um, but I'll get to where I think Aubameyang will start, but I think he'll generally start in the centre for this game. So I would like to see us a little bit more dominant down the right-hand side, and I would really like to see Bellerin look to make those overlapping runs, because I haven't seen that attacking ability from Bellerin since pretty much he came into the first team for the first year and a half. He was at Arsenal. He was showing that attacking ability. He had lightning pace. I'm yet to see that since he's come back from injury, so only time will tell. Obviously, a lot of people would say, why not Maitland-Niles? But Bellerin, I think, is generally quite a big favourite of Arteta's. As we saw, Maitland-Niles was there when Arteta came in at right back. He said, nah, I'm not having this. I'm playing players in their right position. And Maitland-Niles was one of the first players to sort of get dropped. Not that he was doing anything wrong, just simply because I think he wants to play Bellerin at right back. Probably dragged on a bit too much about him, but I will go now into our centre-backs. I believe that Pablo Mari is going to finally start his first game for the Arsenal senior team. Obviously, he played for the 23s the other night and apparently was very impressive in that game. Played alongside Rob Holding. With Pablo Mari, as far as I'm aware, I think with the Brazilian league that he just won with Flamengo, I think they just were in off-season, so he is lacking that little bit of match fitness at the moment. It might be too soon for him, but I do think that this is a good game to start him, and I genuinely believe that Arteta is going to start him. I'm looking forward to seeing him play because I've heard some really good reviews about him, not just from the 23s game, but also how he performed against Liverpool in the Club World Cup. So I am really excited to see it. I'm really hoping that he is fit enough to play this game. And I genuinely believe that Arteta will play him. Next to Socrates. Now, Socrates has been a little bit in and out of the lineup this season, a little bit hit and miss with his performances. I think there's been at times where you've seen the Socrates that we know that we can see in certain games this season where he's been really up for the game, but he's also kept his composure at the same time. But what I think goes against Socrates sometimes is he can lose his head positionally, and he can sort of let the occasion of the game get the better of him. I am hoping he doesn't get like that in this game, particularly because he is going back to play at his home country in Greece for this game. But he is a professional, so I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. I think under Arteta he's been decent, but I don't think that Arteta sees him as a starting centre back in the future for him. He is 32, he is getting on, but I think he will start this game next to Pablo Mari. Although, instead of Pablo Mari, if he doesn't play, I think David Luiz will probably play. Defensive midfield, I am going to go with Matteo Guendouzi. There has been a lot of speculation about this so-called training ground rift that happened between him and Arteta. Arteta pretty much openly said in the post-match press conference when asked about Guendouzi why he wasn't in the squad entirely, that he picks players based on attitude and training and how they perform in training and whatnot. And then all these reports since has come out that Arteta was disappointed with how Guendouzi was carrying himself and conducting himself on the training ground. So that doesn't mean he doesn't have a future at Arsenal because, let's be real, for some reason or another, these Arsenal fans are very quick to criticise Guendouzi, but very quick to stick up for certain players. Mesut Ozil will score 1 goal in 12 months, and then everyone will say, but he's back. But then when Guendouzi is not playing as well, and even if he is playing well, he seems very easily criticised. Arsenal fans, let's not forget, Matteo Guendouzi was on the shortlist for the Golden Ball. Let's not forget that 2 seasons ago he was playing in the second division in France. Let's not forget that Guendouzi was probably our most consistent performer last season. And also, let's not forget that this guy is not scared of any occasion, even these occasions where Olympiakos would be considered intimidating for a lot of players. This guy is not fazed about occasions. He's not fazed about the players he's playing against. And It's what I like about the Guendouzi a lot. And, yes, his positional sense is very frustrating at the times. Yes, he can be a little bit rash and a little bit temperamental, but he's 20 years old, guys. He's just came into the first team. No one expected him to be this good at this time. Guendouzi, for a long time, was a starter for Arsenal when he came in. Only recently he's just been dropped. And as I said, people very quick to praise other players, but very quick to criticize him for whatever reason. Guendouzi will start at defensive midfield for me. Now, this is the interesting one. Who's going to play at centre mid? Because, as I mentioned in my previous video, Lucas Torreira's out. Mesut Ozil is, his wife's expecting a child. Congratulations to him. But I think Granit Xhaka will start this game. And obviously, with Arteta hinting that he's not looking to play just youngsters, he's looking to play an experienced side, I may think Granit Xhaka will comfortably slot in at centre mid. One of the revelations since Arteta has come in, I think he had probably his worst game under the Arteta reign against Newcastle. Not saying it was bad, he just didn't really stand out as much. I think Xhaka has put in 8 out of 10 performances pretty regularly since he's come back into the first team frame, even when Emery was still here. But particularly since Arteta has come in, he looks revitalised, looks a lot calmer on the ball. Defensively, is a lot better, and he's just making a lot better decisions. In sort of any area of the field. And I think he's crucial for us, for our success right now. And I can't believe I'm saying this. Xhaka was a player I wanted gone for so long, but he is now one of the first names on the team sheet. He will start for me. Let's start on the wing. Left wing, I'm going to go with Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli did not play against Newcastle. I questioned why he didn't end up playing him, although it did end up being the right call based on the result. Martinelli has been one of my favourite players to watch. In my opinion, Martinelli could be one of the best players in the world in the future. Not being biased, I don't have a biased outlook on things. I'm very quick to criticise Arsenal players if I don't think they're good enough. You would notice that in a lot of my other videos. But let's be real. Every single player that has played with Guendouzi, even some of the most experienced ones, such as David Luiz, has highlighted that this guy's attitude is second to none and very unusual to have such a mature head on his shoulders at this age, combining with his immense talent. This guy was playing in the third division in Brazil last season. He is now our second highest goal scorer. A lot of these goals as well has been off the bench. Says all you really need to know. He's very direct with his running. His crossing is very intelligent. I've done a video on Martinelli maybe 2-3 weeks ago, sort of highlighting what his best skills are and benefits. So please go do check that out. But his cutback crossing is excellent. He can get in the box. He's sort of like that Suarez sort of guy, fox in the box sort of player. So for me, I think that he will start on the left-hand side. Nicolas Pepe, who I thought had an excellent performance against Newcastle, will come in, I think, on the right. I think Arteta is smart in a sense that he's not going to really drop players out of form, and Pepe is no exception to that. Look, I genuinely believe that Pepe has been quite hit and miss, not necessarily this season, but particularly under Arteta. I think he took him a lot slower for him to sort of adapt, but it looks like there were some promising signs against Newcastle. Arteta has highlighted that Arsenal don't necessarily play a system that suits Nicolas Pepe, and I'm just wondering if in that winter break that he attempted to try and change something to accommodate for our attacking trio, particularly because we weren't getting any goals. But let's be real, we did see Nicolas Pepe in many more dangerous situations on the weekend against Newcastle. You ultimately saw him score, and he got 2 assists. So at the end of the day, not a bad day in an office, and based on that, I do not think he's going to be dropped. One of our key players last week was Dani Ceballos, and I genuinely believe he's going to start him, not at the centre midfield role, but I think he's going to play him in cam. The other player I thought he might play is Joe Willock, but because Ceballos hasn't played a lot of football lately and he's just had that game that he did, I just think it's going to be very silly for Arteta to drop him, and I don't think he will. The funny thing is about Ceballos is that 3 or 4 weeks ago, it all looked like he was heading out the door and going back to Real Madrid and going on loan to maybe Valencia. That's what the talk of the town was anyway. He's kept his spot. He's fought for his spot. Arteta has highlighted how professional he's been. And let's be real, Ceballos offered nothing offered everything that our midfielders can't do at the moment. He has that ability to just push the ball forward so quickly and to find those gaps, sort of like Cazorla did at Arsenal back in the day. What I really like about him, as I said, gets the ball, looks to spray it out wide straight away. Not only that, he'll look to combine with the centre forward and maybe make those forward runs after. And let's be real, Dani Ceballos, if you compare him to Mesut Ozil at that centre attacking midfield position, he is going to give a better shift defensively, because we have seen this from Dani Ceballos in other games. I don't think defensively he's great. I don't think he's very strong and physically able in tackles, but at the same time, he's putting in a lot more effort and covering more ground. No doubt for me, Dani Ceballos will start this game. Up front, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I did think he might play Lacazette. There's a chance that he might play Aubameyang out left and play Lacazette in the middle. But I just think that, that one goal that Lacazette scored against Newcastle is not going to get him back in the side, because let's be honest with ourselves, Lacazette this season has probably been about a 3 or 2 out of 10. So I don't think he's going to start this game. As Arteta has said in pre-match press conferences, he's looking to play experience, a good, strong side. And let's be real, who's the strongest striker we have? It's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, probably our only world-class player, in my opinion, at the moment. And that for me was a pretty much straightforward one. So that's pretty much all I have time for today, guys. Just going through the lineup one more time. This is who I think, not who I think Arteta's going to start, not who I think should start, as in who I would start. It's more who Arteta's going to start. So to go through it, Kolasinac left back to come in for Saka. I think Bellerin's going to keep his spot at right back. Centre backs, I think Pablo Mari will make his debut alongside Socrates, an experienced member of the Arsenal squad, going back to Greece to play in his home country. Guendouzi's going to start as a deeper lying defensive midfielder, and Granit Xhaka, I think, is going to be playing next to him. Left-hand side is going to be the young Brazilian Gabriel Martinelli. On the right-hand side, Nicolas Pepe will keep his spot. Attacking midfield, with Ozil being out due to his wife having a child, I think Dani Ceballos will come into that attacking midfield role. And obviously, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, although talk that Lacazette could be starting, will, I think, start this game. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it was informative. Please leave some comments if you liked it. Please give me any suggestions. Do go check out the other video I did highlighting if we can win the Europa League, and also discussing, how seriously Arteta is taking it and how he's looking to play a full-strength side tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. Hopefully we can get the win. I'll be back to do a review after the game. Thanks for watching, guys. Look forward to hearing from you soon.